Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Friday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are covering 2nd Baruch, chapters
78 through 86.
Ah, great. How many chapters are there?
I think it's 86. We might actually have to change it if it's not 86, because I saw some... No, because I saw the online version like
87.
It's 87?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can change it to 87. We're finishing it today.
We're finishing 2nd Baruch. It's been a long road.
Yeah.
Another
Getting
one.
from there to here.
Not as long as the Bible.
Yep.
Not quite.
So you don't want to play the washboard, Lawrence?
No, I don't want to play the washboard.
I think you'd be great.
I mean, perhaps I would be great at the washboard.
Just imagine, you're playing some like Johnny Cash stuff.
Yeah. I'm just doing this. Yeah. No, I'm all right.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious. You would be the life of the party.
Would I?
Yeah.
I just pull out my washboard.
Wherever you go, you just pull out your washboard.
Maybe I could be like, hey, do you guys want to see my washboard abs? But then it would just be me playing my washboard on my abs.
You're wearing a washboard underneath your shirt.
Yeah.
And you just have a jacket on or something so people don't notice until
they're my washboard abs.
Yep. Yep.
See, I like that. That's funny.
It would be. We could film a whole video.
Yeah, it's true.
It'd be better than an SNL, but that wouldn't be very hard.
Right.
We were talking about that.
About
we
washboard
should do
abs?
absurdism streams or something, or not streams, videos. I don't know. Not even for this channel. Just
things that are just like funny.
I mean,
or just
sure.
like random.
I mean,
stuff.
Ruben and I come up with these dumb ideas all the time. If we wrote them down ever, that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah.
Because usually they're spur of the moment things.
Right. That's usually how a lot of ideas are.
Yeah,
just
but
kind of
like,
forget them.
If we include you in them, then we might actually make them.
Because do you assume that I'm going to be the one to write them down? Because
No.
I have one of you guys do it.
No, I can. I said if I wrote it down, I just assume
Well, that's
that
if Chris writes it down.
Right,
And then
yeah.
You
Well,
have to.
No, then I have to
you're right.
rewrite it.
Yeah, you'd have to rewrite it.
Have you
And
seen
then
my writing?
I would
Yes.
have to
No,
rewrite
recently.
it in order to read yours.
Has it just barely improved?
It's drastically improved.
Did it? Have you seen his writing recently?
I showed you a piece of paper specifically
Better?
to
Okay.
show you how good it was.
Okay.
It's
But-
completely legible.
But all of us have shitty handwriting. I'm
Yeah.
just glad that my handwriting is the least shitty.
That's fair. Yeah.
I should go get it to prove you wrong right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
All right.
we'll have a cursive contest.
Yeah, cursive does kind of suck.
and Japanese calligraphy. That's part of writing.
Wow. Okay. All right.
You have to use the correct brush stroke order. That's important.
And you have to be really careful about it too.
Yeah. It's incorrect if you do it in the wrong order or direction when you write it.
Pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we've been seeing some success with the newest short, at least, and by some, I mean in comparison to other shorts and other videos on this channel recently. So, yeah, I think I'll be making more of those, which I hate doing, by the way. I'm not really a fan of that kind of content. The kind of really bland, boring, like here, don't take a whole bunch of information content, take like a snippet of it.
But we have so much content that people who have no attention span couldn't watch.
True. All right, okay, let's see.
This is
the newest handwriting. Yes,
newest.
completely legible.
Yes, it is legible.
Very good.
It is better.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been practicing.
Yes. Many
Put a
sleepless
concerted
nights.
effort into one document to look nice.
That too, sure.
That is all.
Can we get some hands in the chat for Chris?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Give Chris some hands, everybody.
Yeah, if you are
Is this clapping
No,
or
that's
laughing?
laughing.
Good.
We should label those.
I just don't even care. I know that one of them is laughing and one of them is clapping.
You know, we never.
Yellow or orange. I
We
don't know.
still have yet to label any of the soundboard
Nope.
things.
true. Yeah.
No, I think. Hold on. Crickets,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's crickets.
mystical chimes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Already did creepy. God, I don't even remember what green and cyan are
Let's
anymore.
find out.
What is this?
That's the drum beat.
Drums.
The drums.
That's
God.
right after a bad joke.
Okay, and then what's this one?
The sad horn.
We have a sad trombone noise?
Yeah, sad trombone.
How have I not known?
We should have been using that this whole time.
Yeah, we should.
God damn it.
It's been years.
Yeah, I really only used the lower and upper two. I know there's that horrible music one.
Sure, that one sucks, yeah.
That's the top red one.
Yeah, but no, we need more of that trombone one. That's solid.
Okay, so drums is cyan and trombone is green.
I don't know what you press.
That's
Yeah,
trombone.
green.
So it's green, yeah.
Yeah, sad trombone. Man, that is great that we have that. All right, we're going to have to remember that.
You know what else we have to remember?
To read?
The Alamo. But also to read chapter 7. You know what? They always say remember the Alamo.
I don't know anything about
Did they ever
the Alamo.
teach you about the Alamo?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't teach about the Alamo in my school. They didn't teach about the Alamo in your school.
You know what they taught?
Did you learn about
the
the Alamo?
Alamo in elementary school? Yes.
Oh, what did you learn about the Alamo?
Yeah, what's the Alamo?
It's the time that this
There
one.
was some battle or something,
Yep,
right?
it was a major loss for the West against Indians because they managed to encircle them and then light their caravan on fire and shoot them down with arrows. This is Custer's Last Stand or something was also.
That is the worst thing to remember. Fuck
That's
that.
the Alamo.
I'm
I don't know what you want.
I'm glad that
That's history.
Native
That's a
Americans
Western
fucked
loss.
them
It
up.
was great. I liked it. It
Yeah.
was interesting. It's an important documented piece of history.
All right.
I
yeah.
like how they just let themselves get into the position that literally every single strategic
it was
manual
still
in
Mexico
history
and
tells
Texas
you
for
don't
sure.
allow yourself to get
And
surrounded
I
by
do believe
archers.
that it was recruited Native Americans with guns. They weren't just with bows and arrows. They had horses and guns too.
Even better.
And Mexico? Oh, okay. So I'm
Oh,
not
was
sure.
Mexico? Okay.
Mexico.
Mexicans as well. Yeah. So it's when the U.S. lost a bunch. It was interesting.
Even still,
Okay, good.
why would you should not ever allow yourself to get surrounded by people
Sure.
who have long range weapons? That's
Bad
so
idea.
dumb.
Well, that's how they lost. They lost really badly.
Okay, I understand why they say
Remember that.
the Alamo, because that's what happens when you forget basic shit about strategy.
Holy shit.
Thanks
That's
for-
50 Romanian something for
That's $11.08.
Oh, okay.
Incredible.
How does that translate? That's
I don't
that's
exactly know.
amazing.
For Xmas, you sweet dudes spend it well in a strip club. Will do.
In Romania,
Yeah, I gotta go to those
you'd
one of those
probably run into
high
like.
class Romanian strip
Is
clubs.
there a high class Romanian strip club?
No.
It's
Sure.
owned by Andrew Tate.
It's an entire
Right.
country.
Oh, God.
Guys, it's a whole country. I'm sure there's stuff.
Yeah, like high class strip clubs.
So when I imagine Romanian strip club
Are you
culture,
thinking of Andrew Tate?
I am just thinking of like Hustlers University students who aren't Andrew Tate, but who really want to be, but are not good at it.
Yeah, no tape, please.
Sorry, no Tate. That guy sucks.
Yeah. Anyways,
Let's start the reading for today.
chapter 78.
Wait, what are you reading from?
I am reading from the Old Testament Pseudepigrapha edited by James H. Charlesworth, Volume 1, Apocalyptic Literature and Testaments, with this section being written by A.F.J. Klein. Well, translated and introduced. There are footnotes. I think those are by Charlesworth.
Are they?
I don't know.
I feel like those would be by.
I
Klein.
don't know what's added by Charlesworth. It says it was edited, right?
I mean, though he edited the whole edition.
He edited the whole edition. He's added stuff in
Sure,
at
yeah.
various points. So I don't know what's his and what is the original author's. That is a subject of critical scholarship for someone else.
True.
So chapter 78, the letter to the 9.5 tribes.
Classic, yeah.
Now,
Because the 2.5 ones, right?
I know that
they
they
suck.
refer to it as a half tribe,
Yeah, half tribe Manasseh, yeah.
but How do you have a half?
I don't know. Okay,
They even drop it
they're still
later.
totally people.
They drop it later.
Eventually.
By the time of this writing, other people had dropped it.
Yeah, but the thing is, in the Old Testament language, it's still called.
NES to LARP as
Right.
Baruch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The letter of Baruch, the son of Neriah, which he wrote to the 9.5 tribes. This heading is in the text as it is found attached to the Apocalypse. The text is generally followed in the translation. So this heading is actually in the thing.
Oh, okay. Usually the headings are not in those texts.
Yeah, there are a lot of small differences in this chapter with translations, but all of them are vaguely similar.
Sure, yeah, like a close enough kind of thing.
Yeah, the evil.
Oh, okay, yeah, plural or single.
Yeah, he that will forsake versus he that will never forsake.
Okay, well, that is a direct contradiction.
That is a contradiction,
Yes,
but
that's a direct.
it's not like whole sentences are different
Sure.
between manuscripts.
Yeah, you like a word here and there or a letter, even. Yeah, okay.
These are the words of the letter which Baruch the son of Neriah sent to the 9.5 tribes which were across the river, in which were written the following things. Thus speaks Baruch, the son of Neriah. This is the third time in this chapter alone that they have gone through the effort of writing Baruch, the son of Neriah, specifically.
Is that important now?
I think that they're
perhaps
trying to establish historicity for the document by firmly stating that it's by this certain person.
Right, yeah.
It's a false historicity, obviously.
I love when people do that, though.
Yeah. Right. Thus speaks Baruch the son of Neriah to the brothers who were carried away in captivity. Grace and peace be with you. I remember, my brothers, the love of him who created me, who loved us from the beginning, and who never hated us, but on the contrary chastised us. And truly I know, are we not all the 12 tribes bound by one captivity, as we also descend from one father?
No, we're not. We're 9.5 tribes now somehow. I don't know what happened. But
No, yeah, but those guys are one.
no, they're 9.5. I mean, why even bring that up?
9.5 is one.
They were separated. These are the people who were on one side of the Jordan, communicating to the people on the other side of the Jordan. Right. We're not all from one father, right? So they're calling back to their lineage. Therefore, I have been the more diligent to leave you the words of this letter before I die, so that you may be comforted regarding the evils which have befallen you. And you may also be grieved with regard to the evils which have befallen your brothers. And then further, so that you may consider the judgment of him who decreed it against you to be righteous, namely, that you should be carried away into captivity for that which you have suffered is smaller than what you have done, in order that you may be found worthy of your fathers in the last times.
So is this supposed to be, because this could be a reference to a few things, right? It could be a reference to like Nebuchadnezzar, who actually did the thing, or it could be a reference to God, who, at least in the Bible, is said to have sent the Babylonians.
I think it's a reference to God,
which would make sense
Pretty
with the
direct.
whole, like, you know, kind of linking back to your ancestors sort of thing.
so that you can be found worthy.
Right, yeah.
He's doing this because what you did was worse, and you need a slap on the wrist, is what he's saying.
Right, yeah.
And what they did was just like practice free religion for a little while, like
Oh, no.
under certain kings.
It's a shame.
Not even all the time.
That's a real shame.
Yep.
You got to die for that one.
Then they even have like this whole reform thing that,
Yes.
Yep.
you know, that one Josiah guy.
Yeah, that guy.
How'd that go?
Man,
Well, not very long lasting.
Oh, no.
no. Therefore, if you think about the things you have suffered now for your good, so that you may not be condemned at the end and be tormented, you shall receive hope, which lasts forever and ever, particularly if you remove from your hearts the idle error for which you went away from here. For if you do these things in this way, he shall continually remember you. He is the one who always promised on our behalf to those who are more excellent than we, that he will not forever forget or forsake our offspring, but with how much mercy assemble all those again who were dispersed. It's the end of chapter 78.
Also, I forgot we had this.
Oh.
The restoration of the gospel of Jesus Christ. This is a little...
thing?
What?
That pamphlet?
Yeah.
A propaganda pamphlet.
Yes, by the Mormons.
Ah.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff about Joseph Smith and Mormonism in here.
Let me tell you about Joseph Smith. He was a con man
He was a con man.
for his whole life.
Yep.
And then he conned some people into thinking.
In 1829, Joseph Smith received the same priesthood authority that Jesus had given to his apostles.
Yeah, he conned some
That
people
same
into
authority.
thinking that.
That's so funny.
Yeah, they gave Joseph Smith apostolic authority so that he could be the new rock of the church.
John the Baptist, who baptized Jesus, appeared to Joseph Smith and conferred on him the Aaronic priesthood, so from Aaron. Peter, James, and John, three of the original apostles, later appeared to Joseph Smith and conferred on him the Melchizedek priesthood.
So
These guys are insane, dude. Oh,
that's
sorry.
the thing. In Mormonism, the Melchizedek priesthood is like...
Is it nothing like the one that we were reading about in the Bible?
no, it's like you're a member of the clergy, basically.
Yeah.
Whenever you're a member of the clergy, you're a member of the Melchizedek priesthood. Basically, they expect you to do certain things. I think, like, you have to go on a mission once or twice. You're expected to marry someone and pop out Mormon kids. But, like, from what I've been told, that's when they get the holy underwear, is when they join the Melchizedek priesthood.
So does anyone... That's pretty funny. But does anyone know where you guys are at on Joseph Smith for Aaron's show? I don't know if Tomer's still in chat or any of the regular viewers for that show.
You know, maybe
where
we
they're
could
at?
have some of them come on when we do the Book of Mormon, because it'd be helpful to have people who've already looked at it.
Right, yeah. What
Yeah, for
point
sure.
are you guys at? Which is what I'm asking. That is what... Ask what? I'm asking where you guys are at in the readings.
You can ask.
Like how far you guys are. I'm asking you.
Don't ask me.
Almost finishing Helmet. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so you guys are like halfway through. At least in this version.
You know what I think would be interesting?
Hmm.
We should cover some Samaritan stuff.
That's a wide range of things.
I know.
Yeah. All right.
It's just a little different, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
But I don't even know how different, because we haven't really run into that.
True. But anyways, let's continue.
Yes, chapter 79. Therefore, my brothers, learn first what befell Zion, namely that Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, came up against us, for we had sinned against him who created us, and had not observed the commandments which he ordered us. And yet he has not chastised us as we deserved. For what befell you, we suffered even more, for it befell us also. Okay,
Oh, nice.
Because of their common ancestry.
Right, yeah.
Yes. Chapter 80. That was a short.
That was a
chapter.
really short chapter.
I think each paragraph of the letter is its own chapter. So, and now, my brothers, When the enemies had surrounded the city, angels were sent from the Most High, and they demolished the fortifications of the strong wall, and he destroyed their solid iron corners, which could not be loosened. Nevertheless, they hid the holy vessels, lest they be polluted by the enemies.
You know who hates iron?
Was that in the Bible? That they hid the holy
vessels? I don't remember hiding the holy vessels. Was there a reference to that?
Because
I remember them destroying everything that was in there.
Hid the holy vessels.
Is there any citation of that?
Vessels of the holy vessel. Yeah, there's no textual.
No,
citation.
yeah, I don't remember them hiding them.
Okay. Tomer.
I mean,
did they hide the holy vessels in the Bible?
I remember them destroying them. I don't remember them hiding them.
Yeah, no, that was under the Assyrians that they destroyed everything.
No, that was under the Babylonians.
The Babylonians also destroyed
at the very
everything.
end. The Babylonians came in and destroyed. It specifically said everything gold or everything in line with gold. Remember?
I thought that was the Assyrians.
No, the Assyrians were the first guys.
Yeah.
So the ones at the very end of Second Kings, those are the Babylonians.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Before that we have the Assyrians, but that was like around the time of Hezekiah. That was around the time of like Manasseh, that period. So. Yeah, I don't think they hid any kind of holy. I don't remember them hiding anything. So it was complete destruction. Which them hiding holy vessels, is this like some implication that the author, believed that he had access to the ark or something?
He said, nevertheless, they hid the holy vessels lest they be polluted by the enemies.
Right. Yeah.
So that implies that these artifacts would be
hidden away,
hidden and out there somewhere.
At least by the author's time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can probably conclude that there was at least some legends about it.
Yeah, there definitely are, right? Because at least for, I don't know how far back this goes entirely, but the Ethiopians believe that they have the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes.
So
currently.
Obviously they can't. I don't think they're the only group that believes that the Ark is still out there.
You know what's funny about that?
What, that they are they? I don't know.
When the people stormed that place and killed all those people in that church, none of the people in that church had seen the Ark of the Covenant. They're not holy enough to
none of them ever
to the antechamber.
They say that they have it, but they've never shown it to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder fucking why.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that time it fell open and some dude evaporated?
Remember that time that there was an earthquake?
No, that was the Ark of the Covenant.
And there was a fire that came out and burned a whole bunch of people.
Wow.
Yeah. That happened in the Bible. that was nuts. Yeah. Absurd. Anyways, they were just talking about
the rebellion there.
We're in chapter 80 right now.
Okay.
They hid the holy vessels. And when they had done these things, they left the demolished wall, the looted house, the burned temple, and the people who were overcome to the enemies. For they were delivered up, lest the enemies should boast and say, we have overcome.
Oh, no.
To such an extent that we have even destroyed the house of the Most High. They have also bound your brothers and carried them away to Babylon, and have caused them to live there.
As they were supposed to do, according to God.
And we have been left here with very few. That is the affliction about which I write to you. For I truly know that the inhabitants of Zion were a comfort to you, as long as you knew that they were happy. This was more important than the affliction you endured being separated from them.
Huh. Wow.
I'm going to hand it off to you for chapter 81.
Chapter 81. Wow, we are zooming through these. Yeah, these aren't very long.
We are zooming like someone born in 1997.
Wow. Is that when that generation starts?
I think it starts in late 96, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. So 81, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But also, hear the word of consolation, for I mourned with regard to Zion, and asked grace from the Most High, and said, will these things exist for us until the end? And will these evils befall us always? And the Mighty One did according to the multitude of his grace, and the Most High according to... Wait, hold on. This is so weirdly worded. So he did according to the multitude of his grace, and the Most High... Yeah, and the Most High according to... Oh, okay. This is really interesting. The Mighty One did according to the multitude of his grace, and the Most High according to the multitude, the magnitude of his mercy. And he revealed to me a word that I might be comforted, and showed me visions that I might not be sorrowful again, and made known to me the mysteries of the times, and showed me the coming of the periods. So there is some interesting stuff here, right? So he's trying to do this parallel thing, right? So he's talking about the grace of the Mighty One, and also the mercy of the Most High. So they're using, two different titles for God. Kind of interesting, but there does seem to be a textual note here. Oh, sorry. His grace. That's the only textual note instead of... Wait, what? Oh, sorry. His grace is sometimes just grace. That is... Oh, man, some of these notes kind of suck. Oh. What were you thinking? So Ruben just pulled out a Quran.
That's interesting because the chapter starts in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful.
Yeah.
And this other chapter, let me just pull up the beginning of that.
I mean, gracious, a gracious and merciful God is referenced to a lot, even in...
It is.
In like this literature. It's not like...
It is.
So
But every single chapter in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful...
Sure, yeah.
It seems interesting that they would specifically cite those features when there's tons of features that you could cite when that is so thoroughly found, I think, in every chapter except one dealing with non-believers. You don't get any grace or mercy there. You got to slaughter those guys down to the last one.
So I think that Islam is part of the Judeo-Christian tradition.
It is, and it's interesting.
It's an Abrahamic faith.
It's interesting because it's claimed that Muhammad was illiterate.
Right, yeah.
So he wouldn't have been engaging with these stories. And in fact, when we see versions like the Adam and Eve story, he's talking about the life of Adam and Eve's account of the story. So
that's funny. I keep pointing that out because in my conversations with Muslims, they're like, oh, this is Adam and Eve according to the Quran. And I'm like, so there was a place where that popped up before the Quran, and it's in the life of Adam and Eve. And that's not in the Bible.
Yeah, it's recognized as fiction. It was always recognized as fiction.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting that there's still that linguistic similarity that follows through. They still attribute these things to the same God. And they're using it together here.
They most certainly are. And then apparently, because of this is actually how he... showed the visions to him, right? So he's trying to comfort him, I guess. And it says here the mysteries of all times. Mystery of all times. I swear these fucking doctors.
There's only one mystery.
Yeah, but either way, he is revealing to him the future, essentially. So, on to chapter 82.
Hey, if you're enjoying the stream, keep enjoying it.
Yeah, keep enjoying it. Why wouldn't you? This is great.
You can enjoy it in more ways than one.
That's true.
You could push this button.
Could whip out
these buttons here.
Don't turn on an auto clicker.
Well, you can. I don't. I'm not.
Yeah, let's not do that. But let's hop into chapter 82.
Go ahead.
My brothers, therefore, I have written to you that you may find consolation with regard to the multitude of tribulations, but you ought to know that our Creator will surely avenge us on all our brothers according to everything which they have done against us and among us, in particular that the end which the Most High prepared is near, and that his grace is coming. That's a very interesting way of putting that.
I mean, the central idea is still that they're melting away all of the excess, like, impurities, right? It doesn't use the same furnace metaphor as, like, Daniel. But,
right, yeah.
The central idea is the same.
Yeah, and the fulfillment of his judgment is not far. For now we see the multitude of the happiness of the nations, although they have acted wickedly, but they are like a vapor, so they're going to go away.
Why not create a video talking about the evolution of belief? A movie on the evolution of belief and how it differs from the past. Well, I don't know how you could have evolution without it differing from the past.
Sure.
That's necessary.
Yeah, I don't worry, Wim. I said whip out your mouse and click the like button. That's another way you can enjoy the screen, by whipping out your mouse, obviously, is how I finished that.
They're all watching on touch screens. They could whip out anything.
That's true. You could have two windows open.
You could.
On any screen, really.
You could.
Anyways, so that would be a very hard thing to make, because
first, the evolution of first, you would have to have a satisfactory definition of belief.
Right, that's one thing, which already...
I mean, you're really talking about all of human thought.
Right, but if you're talking about like religious belief or like the evolution of religions, that would also be difficult, because that was prehistoric. And we have no way of knowing what there was. There are ideas.
There are some channels I've seen that talk about like early Indo-European gods, based off of archaeological evidence. Not a lot of textual stuff.
But the thing is, even then, like, we can have statues of certain things, but it's hard to fully know what those things are identifiable with, because we're just imposing our own modern ideals onto the past.
Yes.
We have no actual records of like their thoughts entirely. Like, some things make sense, right? Like the Venus statues, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Those things, for a long time, people were like, oh, these were like some cultic sex object, right? But like, fertility, I could see, but like anything further than something just vaguely related to fertility is weird, because how are we deciding what their standards of attractiveness were? How are we deciding what they would put into their art as a concept of attractiveness?
You would have to have more of their art.
Right. But the thing is, you still wouldn't have, like, typologically, you still wouldn't have these bases to say what they thought.
Oh, you could.
It's hard. It's
hard. You definitely could, because particularly with...
is that the wife?
No.
Okay.
No. Particularly with sexual imagery, use the Greeks, for example. They had a lot of pornographic imagery in their vases, in all of their art forms. And you could derive what Greeks found sexually appealing at the time.
Right, yeah. Because they also wrote, though.
Right, but you could do it independently, because there's just so much of a wealth of these things. There's so many of them.
Sure, but the thing is, we also have context for those things that we don't have for something like the Venus statues. So it's a lot of imposing our own modern ideology onto these ancient cultures. So that's how it was for a long time. Like, but for right now, like, I can't see anything past like fertility.
The thing is, I don't think that a lot of pre-modern historical writings or like social commentary is really that dependable. Like, We could say, for example, well, you see, Americans idealize hard work, grit, and determination.
Yeah, we like to say that.
There's a certain degree to which that would be true based off of your point of view. But that's not necessarily true of our culture.
Right, yeah.
Right? It might be, depending on who's saying it and why, it can take on a whole different meaning. So when we have these pre-modern historical methods, basically a lot of it is storytelling. A lot of it is like personal opinion, like, oh, these tribes were just barbarous, right? Well, maybe that's someone's personal opinion. Maybe it's because there's like some politician that they're trying to kiss their ass, and it's like, that could be going on. I'm sure it happened all the time with early authors, especially in Greece and Rome.
Sure, yeah.
Right? So I don't give it much credence, right? I understand why you might, because there's not really much else that you have to go on.
Right, because you're making a lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, these ideas, they logically make sense, but we don't actually have the evidence that people assume that we have.
Yeah, it sucks. History sucks.
Yeah.
Not a science.
Good old anthropology. So,
anthropology is a science.
That the entire thing that I just told you about the Venus statues, we discussed that in my anthropology course.
Good.
So
they should do that.
All right. Continuing on here.
Actually, what's the most ridiculous thing that you heard in your anthropology course?
Ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything kind of made sense because the teacher was really good, and it's clear that she cared a lot about the topic and was very much invested in good methodology. So the first half of the class was about methodology.
But there wasn't anything absurd that you ran into within any particulars?
I don't remember anything crazy. Oh, right. Hold on. The one crazy thing that I ran into, right, was there was a thing that was obviously a dildo that a lot of people, when they first discovered it, were like, guys, this is like some ritualistic it's like one of those, it's a statue, right? Representative of a god or something. And I'm like, it's a dick. It's literally a dick and balls. This isn't like one of those cases of artistic confusion.
Wow.
It was a dick and balls. And there were people back in the day when it was first discovered thinking that it was not a dick and balls.
Okay.
That was pretty funny.
That's absurd. That's too much.
Yeah.
How could you?
I don't fucking know, because they refused to believe that women also had a sexuality. So
Puritans.
Yeah, right. Continuing on here.
It was a banana and 2 oranges. Yeah. It was a ritualistic tool for harvest of tropical fruits.
Obviously. So these right. So these end times are coming, and the happiness of these wicked people will go away. And we behold the multitude of their power while they act impiously, but they will be made like a drop. And we see the strength of their power while they resist the mighty one every hour, and they will be reckoned like spittle. So they're going to be like nothing.
Well, not really. The spittle was what was used by God to form the clay into the shape of Adam.
Well, if we're talking
so
about,
they'll be taken apart to their base elements.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess if we, when it says beforehand that they will be made like a drop among like the multitude that they had before, right? Like it's like nothing in comparison, I should say.
Yeah. Could it have been that religious views got in the way of objective analysis.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. 100%.
It's not only that religious views get in the way of objective analysis. There are all sorts of personal biases.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they did not have a well thought out theoretical system of epistemology, really. They didn't have a strong methodology for determining anything, right? Most of what was going on was like hearsay and poetry.
Right, yeah. They were, like, back in the day, they were taking a lot of stuff at face value that they should not have been taking at face value.
Mm-hmm.
I was just talking to Chris about this, when I got here, that, like, back in, before the 70s, every biblical scholar, the smartest people in the field, believed that there was a Moses and an Abraham and, like, the patriarchs were all real, that kind of stuff. And then in the 70s, you get the works of Van Setters and Thomas L. Thompson that just take all of the biblical studies at the time and go, hey, you're all fucking wrong. And then they prove it. Mm-hmm. And then it takes years for their ideas to actually take hold. But now that's like the standard thing. So, like, yeah, that was very much like just an assumption that had been made for a very long time.
It's absurd that it took thousands of years.
Right, yeah. But yeah, they were trying to find the naturalistic explanations, right? So the thing is, there are naturalistic explanations, but not for the things that they thought that there would be. Like, there is instead a naturalistic method of writing a story that that fits in with at least the historical methodology that was then presented. So, like, how you're able to contextualize these stories, even if they don't contain a lot of, like, ontic facts, like, you can contextualize the story based on, like, motifs and maybe references to things that didn't exist at a certain time, right? So you can learn to contextualize that way.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I am number one. Lawrence
Yep.
is supposed to be number two, but he didn't want to be that
No,
shitty.
you know what I should do, though? I should actually be number -1.
Number -1.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because this is the real number line. This table.
Obviously. Clearly it is, right? That way is higher numbers. This way is lower numbers.
Yep. And all you people off camera, you can't see it, but it is a real line. It keeps going forever. It's not a segment.
This is a very, very long table. Yeah.
The longest.
Never ends, actually. So, yeah. So it's impossible to reconstruct the past belief. Not everything. Yeah.
It's on the line somewhere in this table.
So you can't do it all the way, right? There's so much stuff that is just inaccessible to us. And you can never really find the beginning point. You can kind of see where if it was done with, like, colors or something, you could see, like, a what's it called? A gradient, right? Where things get more and more colorful as time goes on, where you could see things more and more vividly and more in a more detailed way. But deciding when that begins is impossible. That's why scholars have always been very vague about when this stuff would have began, because they can't put a real number on it.
Started right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Is, like, you know how there's all that stuff in the Bible about, destroy everything that is in your enemy's town, men, women, children, religious ornaments, everything, erase them from the history, right? That whole thing. Right? You gotta wonder how much stuff that we know about now, people, even like a generation or two after they destroyed some village, they don't know about that because it was erased from history.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, there's probably all sorts of religious elements that carried over from one to the other that they had no idea about. They couldn't have known about it, right? And it took thousands of years of people actively working at recovering antique things.
Right, yeah.
Right. So basically everything that was written up to that point works with faulty assumptions and can be safely discarded.
Well, I mean, sometimes they still have something useful in them.
Yeah, but there are a lot of arguments that just don't hold
Right.
snuff.
Yeah, because they're based off of, like, we know better now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very rare when they have something still useful. But they might.
Like with your Van Setter's example.
Well, I mean, fucking. So I mean that's definitely modern scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
He's still around too. So
We should have him on here. We shouldn't be talking about him behind his back.
No one knows. Like, he's very private, and I say that only because you can't really find any info about him. Like, you can find like the info of like Bart Ehrman, right? Like, you can contact Bart Ehrman or like a whole number of scholars. Like, I've contacted Thomas Romer. None of them have gotten back to me, but I've contacted them. But there's no contact information for Van Setters.
You know why they don't get back to you?
Because I'm a bozo?
Because they aren't getting paid for it.
True. Maybe I should just be like, hey, you want money?
Yeah. Just title your thing Opportunity for $1,000.
That's hilarious.
They'll click on it.
I don't know.
They're all boomers. They'll click on it.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a good point. So continuing on here. There'll be like a drop. They're gonna be like spittle. And we will ponder about the glory of their majesty while they do not keep the statutes of the Most High. But as smoke they will pass away. And we think about the beauty of their gracefulness, or their life. Okay, that's the other possibility there. Yeah, and we think about the beauty of their gracefulness while they go down in impurities. But like grass, which is withering, they will fade away. And we ponder about the strength of their cruelty while they themselves do not think about the end. But they will be broken like a passing wave. And we notice the pride of their power while they deny the goodness of God by whom it was given to them. But as a passing cloud, they will vanish. Yeah, so this is all just like they're mighty right now, but they will go away.
The suffering of people will not last forever, and eventually those who made them suffer will suffer themselves, even though God's the one that really made them suffer. So,
yeah, he did. On to chapter 83.
Yep.
For the Most High will surely hasten his times, and he will certainly cause his periods to arrive. And he will surely judge those who are in his world, and will truly inquire into everything with regard to all their works which were sins. He will certainly investigate the secret thoughts and everything which is lying in the inner chambers of all their members which are in sin. Interesting. This is all just textual readings. What a bummer. But let's see. But yeah, he's going to know what they're thinking and stuff. So that's something.
Yeah.
And he will make them manifest in the presence of everyone with blame. Oh, so like as a trial witness. Mm-hmm. Therefore, nothing of the present things should come into your heart, but they should, on the contrary, be expected, since that which was promised will come. And we should not look upon the delights of the present nations, but let us think about that which has been promised to us regarding the end. For the ends of the times and the periods will surely pass away, and all which is in them together. The end of the world will then show the great power of our ruler, since everything will come to judgment. You should therefore prepare your hearts for that which you have believed before, lest you should be excluded from both worlds, namely that you are carried away into captivity here and tormented there. For that which exists now, or that which has passed away, or that which will come, in all of that, neither the evil in it is fully evil, nor the good is even fully good. For all sorts of health which exists now changes into illness, and every might which exists now changes into weakness, and every power that exists now changes into miseries, and every youthful energy changes into old age and consummation.
Okay,
so this is
Buddha.
So this is the same thing that we've seen before about like end of the world stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where at least this is a very Jewish thing.
It's a very Buddhist thing.
Well, it's also Jewish because the Jews were always like, hey, at these end times, there's going to be this big role reversal. The big will become small. The meek will inherit the earth kind of thing. Everything will be the opposite, essentially. The entire social order will flip on its head.
All the wrongs will be righted.
Yes. Let's see. And every beauty of gracefulness which exists now changes into withering and ugliness. And every infantile pride which exists now changes into lowliness and shame. And every glory of haughtiness which exists now changes into the shame of silence. And every delight and all splendor which exists now changes into ruin of silence. And every joy and every delight which exists now change into rejection and ruin, and every clamor and pride changes into silent dust, and every possession of richness which exists now changes into the realm of death alone, and every seizing desire which exists now changes into involuntary death, and every desire of lust changes into the judgment of punishment. And every capability of deceit which exists now changes into refutation by truth. And every sweetness of ointments which exists now changes into judgment and condemnation. And every friendship changes into silent defamations. Since all these things happen now, do you think that they will not be avenged? Do you think that they will not be avenged? By the end of everything will come to light.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a lot of stuff there.
It's a lot of contrasting imagery.
Yeah.
He's obviously aiming to make a
delights,
rhetorical point.
Delights and ruin, pride and shame. Yeah. So this is exactly the stuff that pops up throughout every prophetic work that we've read in the Bible.
Unfortunately, it's kind of a stale genre.
Yeah. Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun. Now, I thought it was interesting there how it brought up all of the things that Buddha had an issue with in the Siddhartha story. Right? But then it just went on to keep on
for a while.
More and more stuff that I guess they couldn't avoid saying everything that Buddha said.
Right. Yeah, true.
Yeah. Anyways.
A link to the English copy? Well, I mean, there is an online version. If you just look up like Second Baruch.
But the chapters are different.
They're
a little
super different.
You could probably find where we are.
Yeah. I think the chapter is still the same here. So you can just look up like Second Baruch full text or something like that, and it'll give it to you. If you want like a physical copy, this one is in English, right?
Old Testament Apocrypha, edited by James H. Charlesworth, Volume 1.
Yes, you have like a physical copy. Okay, yeah, you can just get this one here. This has a lot of other stuff. It's in 2 volumes, right? So one is apocalyptic literature and testaments, and the other one
is expansions of the Old Testament and legends, wisdom, and philosophical literature, prayers, psalms, and odes, fragments of lost Judeo-Hellenistic works.
Right. Yeah.
It's a mouthful.
This is what we use. And yeah, as Tom was pointing out, there's also translation with the commentary probably.
But
this is like a compendium of like a lot of them.
Yeah.
These have a lot of text.
It's a compendium. It's a good one. It covers pretty much everything that we need for this show. Not everything.
Right. But it has a lot. It has a lot, definitely. So yeah, on to chapter 84.
And I'll pick it up at chapter 85.
Sounds good. Now I gave you knowledge while I still live. Yeah, now I gave you knowledge while I still live. For I have said that you should particularly learn my mighty commandments, which he has instructed you. Very, very strange wording here.
Mm-hmm.
So he's talking to the people? I gave
This
you
is
knowledge
still
while
in the
still live.
letter.
Oh, this is still in the letter, right? That's right. Yeah, for I have said that you should particularly learn my mighty commandments, which he has instructed you, and I shall set before you some of the commandments of his judgment before I die. Remember that once Moses called heaven and earth to witness against you and said, if you trespass the law, you shall be dispersed. And if you shall keep it, you shall be planted. Can you pull up Deuteronomy 33, 19 through 20?
Deuteronomy 33. Oh, I opened right up to Deuteronomy.
Oh,
Okay.
very well done.
Deuteronomy 33,
19 through 20.
19 through 20.
That looks like that's the quote.
And they shall call the... Okay. This actually starts in 18. And of Zebulun he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in your tents going out, and Issachar in your tents. They shall call the peoples to the mountain. There they shall offer the sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall partake of the abundance of the seas and of the treasures hidden in the sand. And of Gad he said, blessed is he
Deuteronomy
who...
33?
Yeah?
Oh, okay.
And of Gad he said, blessed is he who enlarges Gad. He dwells as a lion. He tears the arm and crown of his head. He provided the first part for himself, because the lawgiver's portion was reserved there. He came with the heads of the people. He administered the justice of the Lord and his judgments with Israel.
Interesting. All right.
Sometimes when there are textual references in Klein's work, and I don't know if it's Klein doing it or Charlesworth, these are very loose. And we've pointed out before on this show how we didn't see an association between some of them.
So it looks like, okay. And also other things he said to you when you were in the desert as 12 tribes together. And after his death, you cast it away from you, and therefore that which has been said before has come upon you. And now Moses spoke to you before it befell you, and behold,
Behold.
it has befallen you, for you have forsaken the law. Also, behold, I say to you, after you suffered that, this is so weirdly phrased. I say to you, after you suffered, that if you obey the things which I have said to you, you shall receive the mighty one. You shall receive from the mighty one everything which has been prepared and has been preserved for you. Therefore, let this letter be a witness between me and you, that you may remember the commandments of the mighty one, and that it may serve as my defense in the presence of him who has sent me. And remember Zion and the law and the Holy Land and your brothers and the covenant and your fathers. And do not forget the festivals and the Sabbaths, and give this letter and the traditions of the law to your children after you, as also your fathers handed down to you. And ask always and pray seriously with your whole soul, that the mighty one may accept you in mercy, and that he may not reckon the multitude of your sinners. That'd be pretty important. But remember the integrity of your fathers, for if he judges us not according to the multitude of his grace, woe to all us who are born.
Okay, so Lawrence, there have been biblical letters before, plenty of them. Have you ever... Do you recall any letter saying to hand it down to your descendants?
I mean, I remember books.
Books,
being said,
I don't remember that in letters, though, because it seems really egotistical. And in fact, like this portion right here, he's outright saying, Well, I wrote this so that I can have a good word with God during the judgment, and you should treat it as scripture.
Right, for the specific letter.
Yeah. I mean, we've had instances like in the New Testament where it says like, oh, circulate this letter around, you know, spread the word.
Well, there's that, right? The whole circulation thing. There's also,
But
I think even in Enoch, right? There's this whole thing where he's like giving it to his grandson, or his grandson gets it and then spreads it, right?
Right. That is something that's common in a lot of the mystical traditions, is that the idea is that these are secret familial teachings from holy people being passed down from the holiest one of them to the next holiest one, right?
Yeah. So it's interesting that this is like another kind of, oh, look how seriously you should take this letter kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it acts as another witness.
Yes. It's really weird. And it seems out of character with the rest of it because it's outright saying like, I am writing you this letter for my own benefit in this transaction.
Well,
right?
That's, that comes after like a whole, good amount of revelations and visions. Mm-hmm. So either way, 85.
Yes. 85. We're still in the letter. And, this letter, it just keeps going to the end. So, you know what? I'm going to posit that it may be the case that the letter was a separate document tacked on to the end.
Maybe.
That may be the case.
Because it does feel kind of different from the other stuff, but...
Yeah, and, there's so many textual notes. Whereas if you go
right, there are a bunch of textual issues.
Yeah, a bunch. And if you go earlier on, it's, like, really consistent. It doesn't have this whole linguistic thing going on.
Good point.
That suggests to me that there may have been a different author for this section.
Right, yeah.
Because if there's that many textual errors or problems with translation, then at least it tells me that they're using a different kind of the same language than the other section is in, because the translator is having difficulty with it.
I would think that it might have to do with, like, you have another manuscript that just has this letter.
Maybe.
Or maybe this letter plus some other stuff in Second Baruch, so people thought, like, oh, maybe this goes together.
I'm going to flip back to the beginning, because maybe, just maybe.
Right, maybe he actually describes, hey, look, this came in, there are two different parts to this. Because we've had that before, right? Like, that some biblical books were written in essentially, where we have like textual evidence for. I know that something like Isaiah, right, that was written in 3 different sections, I guess, but they didn't circulate by themselves until, and then came back later. They, one was adding on to another. So I'm wondering if this was like one that was adding on to another, or one that circulated along with it and then became attached later. I don't know.
Yeah, there's just a little bit here. So recently, an Arabic version of the Apocalypse has been discovered, Sinai number 589. But the text has not yet been published. Great. Preliminary observations show that this manuscript is a translation of a Syriac document, probably not the same text as present in Bibliothea Ambrosina B21. The translation is rather free and thoroughly adapted to Muslim ideas. The recently discovered manuscript does not significantly improve our understanding of the Syriac text.
That actually explains a lot.
Yeah. One fragment, verso in recto, is known in Greek among the Oxyrhynchus papyri, 12:1 through 13:2, and 13:11 through 14:3, from the 4th or 5th century. There are 36 different texts of the letter in Syriac.
Wow.
The translation follows the text of Bibliotheca Ambrosiana, folios.
So we do actually have good
Yeah.
manuscript support for it. Okay.
Which is the letter as it is attached to the Apocalypse.
Gotcha. Okay.
The text is indicated by the siglum C, while the other manuscripts are cited according to the sigla presented in the list of Old Testament Peshitta
Thank you, Eric.
manuscripts.
Eric, thank you for the 6 months.
Thank you,
6
Eric.
months of membership. Huge. And you know what? Soon you're going to have that. God, I forget what month you get the next.
Upgraded icon.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. But there, so we do have some evidence that this is something that was attached to the end, but there's a lot of versions that have it in it, and I didn't see any mention of ones that didn't.
Right, yeah.
So, where was I? Did I even start chapter 85?
I don't know if you started it.
No. Chapter 85. Further, know that our fathers in former times and former generations had helpers, righteous prophets, and holy men. But we were also in our country, and they helped us when we sinned, and they intervened for us with him who has created us, since they trusted in their works. And the Mighty One heard them, and purged us from our sins. But now the righteous have been assembled, and the prophets are sleeping. And we have left our land, and Zion has been taken away from us, and we have nothing now apart from the Mighty One and his law. Therefore, if we direct and dispose our hearts, we shall receive everything which we lost again by many times. For that which was lost was subjected to corruption, and that which we receive will not be corruptible. We also have written to our brothers in Babylon, so that I may attest to them these things also. Oh, that's just implied.
Yeah.
And these things which I have said earlier should be before your eyes always, since we are long suffering to us here, and since we are still in the spirit of the power of our liberty, and further, the Most High is also long suffering to us here, and has shown to us that which comes, and has not concealed from us that which will happen at the end. Therefore, before his judgment exacts his own and truth of that
Now you're dying. Also,
which is due.
Me too.
Let us prepare ourselves that we may possess and not be possessed, and that we may hope and not be put to shame, and that we may put to rest our fathers and not be punished with those who hate us.
Thank
Yeah.
you again, Eric.
Actually, Eric Wander with the gifted membership.
Yes.
And it looks like it goes to Unapologetically Chrissy. Congratulations. You get to be a calf now.
Congratulations, unapologetically Chrissy. You are now not yet a golden calf, but
No,
you are
but you're-
on your way.
You're a calf.
Yep, you're getting there.
Nicer than calling someone a cow, right?
A calf is a skinny cow.
Yeah. Don't worry, we're all calves here.
Mm. I got 2 calves. Anyways, there's a lot of this. It's basically like, oh, the reward that's coming is way better than whatever. And
Yeah.
it so exceeds whatever you have. an
Like,
issue
yeah,
with.
don't like. This entire letter has been like, hey, don't worry about these material things that these people have. Like, yeah, they all have it great now, but soon it's all good. They're gonna be fucked.
So basically, the coping mechanism is there is suffering, and you can avoid suffering, and the path to avoid suffering
Are we gonna
is to
read?
follow the noble
Yeah, yeah.
tenfold path.
Yep, that's it.
Of the 10 Commandments.
That's it.
Yeah,
The
For-
tenfold path.
yeah, the tenfold path,
Of the commandment.
the 613-fold path.
Right, of course.
Of the law.
Yes. Yes.
For the youth of this world has passed away, and the power of creation is already exhausted, and the coming of the times is very near, and has passed by. And the pitcher is near the well, and the ship to the harbor, and the journey to the city, and life to its end. Further, prepare yourselves so that, okay, he's just like tacking on metaphors.
Right, yeah. I mean, this entire thing has been filled with metaphors.
Yes, but
And like
obvious
analogies.
He's saying the same thing over and over. It's just different ways of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Further, prepare yourselves so that when you sail and ascend from the ship, you may have rest and not be condemned when you have gone away. For behold!
Behold!
Old.
The Most High will cause these things to come. There will not be an opportunity to repent anymore, nor a limit to the times, nor a duration of the periods, nor a change to the rest, nor an opportunity to prayer, nor sending up petition, nor giving up knowledge, nor receiving love, nor opportunity of repentance, nor supplicating for offenses, nor prayers of the fathers, nor intercessions of the prophets, nor help of the righteous. There is the proclamation of judgment to corruption, regarding the way to fire and the path that leads to the glowing coals. Therefore, there is one law by one world, and an end for all those who exist. Then he will make alive those whom he has found, and he will purge them from sins, and the same he will destroy those who are polluted with sins. It sounds like...
Was that chapter
85?
85, okay.
Yeah, but it sounds very interesting. This seems contradictory here because he will find people, purge them of sins, and everyone who has sins in them will be utterly destroyed. But those who he finds have sins in them in order to be purged of sins. So consequently, it seems that this is an arbitrary decision being made.
So it's so it didn't come off like the people who want to have their sins be cleaned.
Unless it's saying he will purge them from sin, saying like he will remove the sin from the world so that they don't have to deal with it. Right?
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
That could be what's going on here. But also interesting that they bring in the terminology of the fire and the path that leads to glowing coals. That's like a very Christian idea.
Right.
But I guess...
But actually, here, okay, so I should have, unfortunately, I didn't bring this. So I was reading through, this is like a few months ago, I was reading through some Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
Just because, honestly, like I had the book there and I was like, yeah, why not? I'll read a few things. So I flipped to like a random page and I don't know, I forget in which cave it was and I can't cite it right now. I can post it later, I promise. But there, I dog-eared the page, right? Because in the Dead Sea Scrolls, there is a
it's
reference.
going to upset a lot of our viewers that you dog-eared the page. That's why you did it.
Yeah,
but
totally. But the thing is, I didn't want to lose that page, and it mentioned a description of the underworld and how it was filled with fire, and fire burning, that kind of stuff. And I was like, that is very interesting. Yeah. So like this idea, of course, was developing, which is why by the time you get to Jesus, he's talking about there's a place of weeping and gnashing of teeth, right? But it's kind of like a mix of that Gehenna idea with Sheol, and eventually you get to hell. But of course, the
Gehenna Sheol.
Gehenna Sheol. Yes,
that makes sense.
That etymologically too.
Don't forget the Valley of Ben Hinnom. Gotta throw that one.
Gehenna.
Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah. Gehenna.
That's Gehenna.
Yeah, the Valley of Ben Hinnom. Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
Anyways, chapter 86.
Yeah, but you remembered. Good on you.
You did it. Yeah. Chapter 86.
Remember useless crap like that. Sorry.
When you therefore receive the letter, read it carefully in your assemblies and think about it. In particular, however, on the days of your fasts. Okay, so this is insane. There has never been a letter in the Bible that tells you, one, hand this down to your children like scripture in perpetuity, and two, remember it on the days of your fasts, which would be your holiest days of the year.
You wouldn't put that of a letter, but
the idea is that you're supposed to be following the law. So the idea behind the letter, right, is something that you would.
I was thinking of it this way: as a later addition, this would also make sense because they also want to explain how they kept it for so long.
Yes,
because it was handed down by children or by parents to their children. So even in like this later social context, you can see the justification for how they still have it.
Yeah, but they want it to be the letter specifically. It's not about the teaching, it's about the letter.
Right,
The following sentence directly says this. And remember me by means of this letter, in the same way as I remember you by means of this, and always.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 87. Last
chapter.
And it happened when I had finished all the words of this letter and had written it carefully until the end, I folded it, sealed it cautiously, and bound it to the neck of an eagle, and I let it go and sent away. The end of the letter of Baruch, the son of Neriah.
That letter's gone.
That is the end
There'd
of
be a
second
copy
Baruch.
of that letter because the one that was on the eagle, that's gone.
Right.
No, remember before he talked to this random eagle? And
Yes.
He did, yeah.
he got it. So, final thoughts on second Baruch. Very interesting
Lots
book.
of cool stuff, actually.
Yeah, it's way more. It's not nearly as good as Revelation.
It repeats itself quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it definitely in some places was very kind of boring, drawn out. Right. It was kind of a slog to get through.
I will rate it like maybe 6.
I
six
like-
and a half, 7, somewhere in there.
It had a lot of cool stuff. I actually give it an 8.
All right.
Yeah.
All right,
it
we're
is
gonna
kind of a
average
slog.
out at 7.33.
Okay, it is.
Okay.
It is kind of cool in some places. There's a lot of stuff to kind of unpack, and we wrote down a lot of it. Like there's stuff on Gog and Magog, right? There was stuff on the link to Proverbs and the acts of old and wisdom. I'm gonna have to look back into that, but that's also in there. The idea of a pre-existent Torah. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff in there.
Yeah, there is. Even in the stuff that we just covered today, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff in there. There's the idea of this glowing coals and fire concept for the afterlife for those who don't repent. There's like this entire developed eschatology. The entire book has like an extremely well-developed eschatology, which I think is actually more in line with the Old Testament's eschatology than
it is.
Revelation is.
Absolutely.
But Revelation is an extremely well-researched book.
It is, yeah. And the thing about Revelation, right? One of the big differences is that there's not going to be a temple. So yeah, and then you had like the vision, right, with the waters.
Now, could you see this as a response to early Christian ideas? Because they do have some Christian elements, but they seem to remove
so
the messianic element so much.
They have their own Messiah.
They
it
have
says,
their
right?
own
Anointed
Messiah,
one.
but for the vast majority of it, they seek to distance themselves between a messianic movement. It is brought up.
There were already messianic trends at the time, though.
Right.
And it's not like Jesus's was the only one.
Right, but they're very clearly not associating themselves with any particular one of those.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So I don't think this was like I don't really see anything that it's responding to in terms of.
We can
Christian
tell that
stuff.
it's responding to the destruction of the temple.
Sorry, it's not responding to Christianity,
Right.
in any way. I don't see, at least. If you can, think of a few things that might be, maybe, but I really don't. I don't see it.
Because I was placing this somewhere around the same time that Revelation was written.
I would do that as well. I just don't think it's a response to,
Right.
to it.
And so when we do that, though, we have to keep in mind that there's probably some, ostensibly, a community of authors.
Yeah, or some movement.
Yeah.
Where people are doing this.
They would probably have knowledge of each other to a certain extent if it got big enough.
Sure.
So
Maybe.
I wonder the degree to which, horror authors today have tons of influence on each other. All sorts of fiction authors have all sorts of influence on each other. I'm sure polemic writers have all sorts of influence on each
Absolutely.
other. And I can't imagine that it would be different among apocalypse authors even a long time ago.
Yeah, but I guess the thing that I just don't see anything that's specifically anti-Christian is the thing.
I wonder.
We'll have to go back and look at a few things. Maybe we can find something.
Because there's probably something in the details on the Messiah figure in here.
Right, yeah.
That is at least contrary to some movements that were going on at the time.
Yeah, we can take a look at the Messiah figure again. We can take a look at maybe if there's some of these ideas that we even wrote down, the pre-existent Torah, for example.
Maybe we could bring it up in some shorts.
Right, yeah.
Which you love because they're so informative and in-depth.
Yay!
I really hate the fact that those get views. I really do.
The thing is that YouTube fights against us in every single algorithm except for the shorts.
Yep.
And I think it's because the shorts have a completely different system.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Well,
So-
hey, if you watch the stream, good.
Yeah, good. So I would think here that this book is worthy of a good amount of study.
Yes, it
Maybe looking
is.
into it more.
It is. I would place it. It's not as important as like the Shepherd of Hermas,
Right, yeah.
but it is interesting. It gives you an idea, probably, honestly, of what mainstream Jewish thought was kind of like around the time, at least among those who were like, committed to their Judaism.
Chris, he's.
Lawrence.
I know. I see them. He's tagging like the same shirt because, I don't know why Teespring does
It's
this.
an insane amount this time.
It's
more than I've ever seen.
It's like 30-ish, 35-ish of the same shirt, and he's like tagging them all.
I wanted to pick a different shirt. It wanted me to pick this one, Lawrence.
Yeah, I see that, and it's all that.
27.
Yeah.
27 of them.
Wow.
You know what, guys?
This is its fault, okay?
What are we
There you
going
go,
to
you
read
pick one.
next?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. How about this? The Acts of Peter and the 12 Apostles.
Maybe. Why don't we read something from Volume 2?
Oh, we could, sure.
It's been a while since we read anything from Volume 2.
Yeah, because a lot of stuff in Volume 2 is...
We keep
Wisdom.
hearing about Pseudo-Philo.
Yeah, we could read Pseudo-Philo.
Yeah.
We also got Pseudo...
Wasn't there an
Phoclides.
apocalypse of somebody or other we were supposed to read?
There's a bunch of apocalypses we got to read.
There's so many.
But I remember specifically one was referenced a bunch. Like it might have been of Moses.
Oh, no, forget it. We're not doing Pseudo-Philo. It's just a retelling of the Torah.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
It's just a history of Israel from Adam to David.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Imaginative retelling of parts of the Old Testament.
Wow.
Nope, not doing that.
How imaginative.
We've done that already.
That is
We've
true.
done
Yes,
that
we have.
too many
We read
times.
Jubilees as well.
Yeah, we read Jubilees.
And Pseudo-Philo is this long. It's
Oh,
quite
quite a chunkster.
yeah, almost
Seems pretty
100
thick.
pages.
That's wild, yeah. Let's see. We got we read the Enochic stuff. Well, we also have, of course, 3rd and 4th Baruch.
Hey,
I guess
why not?
I mean, I guess we could do you want to keep with the Baruch stuff or
we were gonna do the Odes of Solomon.
Oh, the Odes of Solomon, that's the one that I think we were referencing a lot, right?
Yeah, we were doing
There you
that a
go.
lot in the Shepherd of Hermas. And
Let's do
some
that
other
and then
stuff.
return to Baruch.
We already did Maccabees.
Yeah.
Tomer.
But not 3rd and 4th.
Right,
And not
3rd
the
and 4th.
Ethiopian 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, that one I have to find.
We need an Ethiopian Bible.
We do. You're right. We could probably find one.
We
Add
just
to the
throw one
list.
up on
Jesus, man.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Someone
All
will
right,
buy it for
that's the
us.
show.
All right. I guess next time it's the Odes of Solomon.
Yeah, Odes
Is
of
this
Solomon.
is it the whole thing or what's the?
Probably, it's not very long.
It's not very long.
It's not like super long.
Oh wait, these are the ones where like the things are pretty short, right?
Yeah,
But-
some of them are like a word. There's a few
Yeah, a
of them.
word.
They're probably like
Okay, so yeah, this will take
3,
a
4,
few weeks.
5 episodes tops.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
it goes into 30, 40. Looks around like 40-ish.
Yeah, but they're short. They're like psalms, but they're like supposedly more special.
More special, yeah.
More specialer
Yeah, they're
psalms.
odes to Psalm. Amen.
Odes of Solomon.
Whatever.
My man.
Yep. I love this.
Hey, everybody. Do all the things.
Oh, yeah. Drop your likes on the video to help the video. And also, we got shirts. Do you see that shirt? It's pinned, right?
Oh, I'll bet.
Okay, great.
27 times.
You gotta go
yeah,
influencer
sure.
mode. You know, I know that sometimes life is really hard and things get tough, but
Oh,
when
yes.
I find myself getting down, I always just click like and subscribe on the video, and I leave a comment talking about it. Be sure to do that too. Then we will see you on Friday.
And because that's next week. And join the Discord.
Bye.
See you on